The Persian sun beat down on the port of Siraf in 820 CE, as Darius Yarsimi wiped sweat from his brow and surveyed the bustling marketplace. Ships from distant lands crowded the harbor, Chinese junks laden with silk and porcelain, Indian vessels carrying spices, and Arab dhows transporting precious metals. As a merchant of modest means, Darius had struggled to compete with wealthier traders who dominated the most profitable routes along the Persian Gulf. Another cargo lost to Hormuz, he muttered to himself, watching as a wealthy merchant secured exclusive rights to a shipment of Chinese silk. It was the third time this month he had been outbid. What Darius could not know was that he stood at the cusp of a commercial revolution, one that would transform not just his fortunes, but the entire economic landscape of the Abbasid Caliphate and beyond. The Persian Gulf was becoming the epicenter of global trade, and innovative commercial practices were about to reshape how business was conducted across 3 continents. In 750 CE, the Abbasid Caliphate had risen to power, shifting the Islamic world center from Damascus to Baghdad. This political transformation brought Persian administrative expertise to the forefront of the Islamic commercial empire. The Persians, drawing on centuries of trading experience dating back to the Achaemenid Empire, 550 to 330 BCE, introduced sophisticated commercial practices that would revolutionize international trade. One morning, Darius received a summons from Tahir Lajani, a respected Persian scholar who served as an advisor to the governor of Siraf. Intrigued and somewhat apprehensive, Darius made his way to her residence, a modest but elegant structure overlooking the harbor. "You have been recommended to me as a man of integrity," Tahir said, inviting him to sit. "But integrity alone does not build fortunes in these competitive waters." "I lack the capital to compete with established merchants," Darius admitted. "They secure exclusive contracts through substantial advance payments that I cannot match." Tahir nodded knowingly. "This is precisely why I have called for you. The governor has authorized me to introduce a new commercial instrument, one that has been developing in Persian trading circles but remains largely unknown to many merchants." She unrolled a parchment covered in elegant Persian script. "This is what we call a sack, what will later be known in Europe as a check. But more importantly, I am going to teach you about a Persian innovation called the suftaja." This moment marked Darius's introduction to what historians would later recognize as one of the most transformative commercial strategies of the medieval world, the sophisticated credit and partnership systems developed by Persian merchants under Abbasid rule between the 8th and 10th centuries. The suftaja was a credit letter allowing merchants to deposit funds in one city and withdraw equivalent amounts in another, eliminating the need to transport dangerous quantities of cash across bandit-infested trade routes. Along with the sack, these instruments formed part of an advanced financial system that predated European banking by centuries. "But this is merely the beginning," Tahir continued. "What will truly transform your prospects is understanding the mudaraba." The mudaraba was a revolutionary partnership arrangement where investors provided capital while merchants contributed labor and expertise. Profits were divided according to pre-arranged agreements, while financial losses were borne solely by the investor. The merchant risked only his time and effort. "This system will allow you to access capital that would otherwise remain beyond your reach," Tahir explained. "Wealthy individuals seeking returns on their money without the dangers of travel can invest in your trading ventures." What Tahir was describing would later be recognized by economic historians as one of the world's first venture capital systems. Developed to address the specific challenges of long-distance trade across the vast territories of the Islamic world, these Persian financial innovations created opportunities for social mobility that were rare in the medieval period. In the months that followed, Darius immersed himself in learning the intricate details of these financial instruments. The Persian contribution was not just the instruments themselves, but a sophisticated framework of commercial law that provided stability and predictability to transactions. By 825 CE, Darius had secured his first mudaraba partnership with a wealthy landowner named Firuz, who provided 1,000 gold dinars to finance a trading expedition to China. The contract stipulated that profits would be split 70 to 30, with Darius receiving the smaller share but bearing none of the financial risk if the venture failed. As his ship departed Siraf, Darius carried not heavy sacks of gold but a suftaja letter that would allow him to access funds in ports along the way. This dramatically reduced the risk of robbery and simplified his transactions in foreign markets. The journey was not without challenges. When Darius reached the important trading port of Canton, modern-day Guangzhou, in 826 CE, he found Chinese merchants initially suspicious of his credit instruments. "They have never seen such documents," explained Li Wei, a local interpreter. "They demand tangible silver or gold for their porcelain and silk." This challenge highlighted an important aspect of the Persian commercial system. It required educational efforts and relationship building to extend its network of trust. Darius spent weeks cultivating relationships with key Chinese merchants, explaining the principles behind the suftaja and demonstrating how it was honored throughout the Abbasid territories. By the time he departed Canton, Darius had not only secured valuable cargoes but had also established the groundwork for future Persian merchants to utilize these credit instruments in Chinese ports. This process of building commercial trust networks was being replicated by Persian traders across the Indian Ocean trading world. When Darius returned to Siraf in 827 CE, his expedition had yielded a profit of 60%. After distributing the agreed share to his investor, he retained enough capital to finance a portion of his next venture independently while seeking additional Mudaraba partners for expansion. The Persian financial system was creating a new class of merchants, those who rose not through inherited wealth but through demonstrated skill in negotiation, market analysis, and relationship building. The system rewarded those who could accurately assess opportunities and risks, creating incentives for merchants to develop sophisticated negotiation techniques. By 830 CE, Darius had expanded his operation to include 3 ships and multiple trade routes. A key to his success was the Persian emphasis on comprehensive record-keeping and contractual precision. Each Mudaraba agreement was meticulously documented, with clear terms for profit distribution, expedition duration, and permissible markets. "The power of our system," Tahir explained during one of their regular consultations, "lies not in the wealth of individual merchants but in the networks they create. A successful Persian trader is measured not by ships owned but by partnerships cultivated." This network-based approach to commerce represented a significant departure from the more individualistic trading practices common in many other regions. Persian merchants like Darius became experts in managing complex webs of relationships spanning multiple countries, cultures, and legal systems. Historical records from the period show that Persian merchants operating under the Abbasid Caliphate developed specialized vocabulary and techniques for cross-cultural negotiation. They employed what modern business theorists would call interest-based negotiation, focusing on identifying the underlying needs of trading partners rather than merely haggling over prices. In 835 CE, Darius faced his greatest challenge when political tensions between the Abbasid Caliphate and the Tang dynasty threatened to disrupt the valuable China trade. Chinese authorities in Canton imposed new restrictions on foreign merchants, and many traders from other nations were forced to abandon the route. Drawing on his deep understanding of Persian diplomatic traditions dating back to the Sassanid Empire, 224 to 651 CE, Darius organized a collective response among Persian merchants. Rather than competing against each other for limited trading opportunities, they formed a temporary association to negotiate with Chinese officials as a unified group. This approach, combining collective bargaining with respect for Chinese cultural sensitivities, secured preferential terms for Persian merchants. Their ability to continue trading during this period of restriction further consolidated the Persian dominance of the Indian Ocean trade networks. By 840 CE, Persian merchants like Darius were not simply traders but had become essential intermediaries in the global economy of the medieval world. The financial innovations they pioneered had created a system where information, trust, and negotiation skills were as valuable as physical capital. "We have created something unprecedented," Tahir observed during a meeting of prominent merchants in Siraf. "Our networks now extend from the Mediterranean to the South China Sea. A Persian merchant can travel this entire distance without carrying a single gold coin, conducting business entirely through credit instruments and partnership agreements." The archaeological evidence supports this account. Excavations at medieval trading ports have revealed Persian commercial documents, seals, and weights dispersed across thousands of miles, demonstrating the extraordinary reach of their commercial networks. By the mid-9th century, Persian commercial practices had influenced trading communities from East Africa to Southeast Asia. What made this system particularly revolutionary was its meritocratic nature. Unlike feudal systems prevalent in many societies, where social mobility was severely limited, the Persian commercial framework created pathways for talented individuals from modest backgrounds to achieve significant economic success and social standing. This was vividly illustrated in 845 CE, when Darius, once a struggling merchant of humble origins, was appointed to the prestigious position of chief commercial officer for the governor of Siraf. His expertise in international trade and diplomatic negotiation had made him an invaluable asset to the political administration. In this role, Darius helped standardize commercial practices throughout the Persian Gulf, establishing consistent rules for partnerships, credit instruments, and dispute resolution. The system he helped formalize would continue to evolve and influence global commerce for centuries. The Persian commercial revolution reached its zenith during the 9th and 10th centuries, before political fragmentation within the Abbasid Caliphate began to disrupt the unified commercial networks. Yet even as political unity fractured, the commercial practices pioneered by Persian merchants continued to spread and evolve. When Italian city-states began their rise to commercial prominence in the 11th and 12th centuries, they adopted many elements of the Persian system, including partnership structures remarkably similar to the mudaraba and financial instruments derived from the suftaja and sak. The Persian influence on European commercial development, though often overlooked in Western historical accounts, was profound and enduring. The story of how Persian commercial strategies transformed ordinary merchants into sophisticated negotiators offers several enduring lessons for our contemporary world. First, it demonstrates how financial innovation can democratize opportunity. The Persian credit and partnership systems allowed talented individuals without substantial capital to participate in lucrative trading ventures, creating pathways for meritocratic advancement that challenged the rigid social hierarchies of the medieval world. Second, it highlights the critical importance of trust networks in economic development. The Persian system worked because it built reliable mechanisms for honoring commitments across vast distances and different cultural contexts. In our digital age, as we grapple with building trust in online marketplaces and international commerce, the Persian emphasis on reputation and relationship cultivation remains instructive. Third, it reveals how cross-cultural negotiation skills can become a significant competitive advantage. Persian merchants thrived not just through financial acumen but through their ability to navigate diverse cultural contexts and build mutually beneficial arrangements across linguistic and cultural boundaries. Perhaps most importantly, the Persian commercial revolution demonstrates that sophisticated financial and commercial systems were not unique to European civilization but emerged independently in multiple contexts. The Persian achievements remind us that innovation has always been a global phenomenon, with transformative ideas flowing across cultural boundaries. As we navigate our increasingly interconnected global economy, the Persian merchants of the Abbasid era offer a reminder that creating systems that expand opportunity, build trust, and reward skilled negotiation can transform not just individual fortunes but entire societies. The strategies that transformed humble traders like Darius Yarsimi into master negotiators and architects of international commerce continue to shape our world today, even if their Persian origins have been obscured by time.